80% of adults will participate in handing out candy to trick-or-treaters, and 93% of children will go trick-or-treating. There is no doubt that Halloween is a popular holiday, but why do we celebrate it? Why do we trick-or-treat? Why do we wear costumes? Why do we carve pumpkins? Halloween has a very long history, and today I would like to apprise you of the origins of Halloween. Halloween began 2,000 years ago with a Celtic celebration called Samhain. The Celtics' New Year was November 1st. This marked the end of the summer harvest time and the beginning of the long, cold, dark winter. They believed that the night before Halloween, the boundaries of the worlds between the living and the dead became blurred, and thus the ghosts from the dead came down among the living. Because of this, they would leave food out on their doorsteps to appease these spirits and help them along on their journey. They would also wear masks or costumes to avoid being recognized by the ghosts of the dead. Also, they believed that when the ghosts were around, the priest in their community could make predictions. And this community was solely based, or had their living based on the land. So predictions to them was very important because they were basically at the risk of Mother Nature. So every October 31st, they would build a sacred bonfire, dress up in masks or costumes, and come and basically have their fortunes told. At the end of the evening, they would hollow out turnips and place some of the sacred embers inside of them to take home. And they believed if you used those embers to make your fire for the winter, it would keep you protected from the elements. Later, this tradition of hollowing out turnips would be replaced with hollowing out pumpkins. Approximately 1,000 years ago, the Catholic Church declared November 1st All Saints' Day, a day to honor all saints. And they later declared November 2nd All Souls' Day, a day to honor the dead. This was their attempt to replace the Celtic tradition of Samhain. All Souls' Day, however, was celebrated much like Samhain. There were bonfires, parades, and people dressed up in costumes. The poor would go door to door and beg for food, and families would give them soul cakes. And in return, the poor promised to pray for that family's dead relatives. This was a way for the Catholic Church to replace the Celtic tradition of leaving food out on the porch for spirits, and it was called going a souling. All Saints' Day was also called All Hallows or All Hallowed Mass, and the day before, October 31st, the day that Samhain was traditionally celebrated, was called All Hallows Eve and eventually Halloween. Halloween moved to America with the colonists. Although at first the Protestant church was very rigid and limited the celebrations that they could have. Soon, though, an American version of Halloween did emerge. These celebrations were large public events to celebrate the end of the harvest, but they were darker than before. There were lots of stories about the dead, stories about ghosts, fortune-telling, witchcraft, and other kinds of mischief-making. Americans also began dressing up in costumes and going door to door and asking for food or money. In the late 1800s, there was a move to make Halloween more about the community than about ghosts or pranks or witchcraft. Parties became the focus for adults and children alike. There were food, games, and costumes. Community leaders really wanted to take the grotesque and frightening elements out of Halloween. And because of these efforts, Halloween lost most of its superstitious and religious overtones by the beginning of the 1900s. The practice of going house to house or trick-or-treating was revived. They believed that this was an inexpensive way to get the community involved in the celebration. And the neighbors had some incentive to give the children treats because if they didn't, they risked having a trick played on them. Today, Halloween has changed so much and that it's more commercialized. There will be 90 million pounds of chocolate sold during Halloween this year, and 35 million pounds of candy corn. There are over 2,000 haunted houses in the United States that will sell tickets for admission. There are scary movies in the theater, and on TV leading up to the days up to Halloween. And you can't walk into a store without seeing costumes or decorations lined up ready for you to purchase. The practice of wearing costumes to us is a fun way to get involved in a party and be funny. However, remember that it was started as a way to disguise yourselves from the ghosts of the dead. The practice of trick-or-treating for us is a fun way to see family, friends, and neighbors, and overindulgence of candy. However, remember that it was started by helping spirits on their journey, and later to help feed the poor. The practice of carving pumpkins is a great afternoon activity and decoration for your front porch. However, remember it's a way to help a family ensure that they were protected during the winter. As you celebrate Halloween this year, I hope this brief history helps you understand the traditions we practice and enables you to enjoy them